Grading is one of the absolute best ways to make money in the sports card hobby, and some people only want to have Gem Mint 10s in their PCs. So on today's video, Compliments of Gemrate, I'm going to be counting down some of the sets with the absolute surefire highest gem rates in the hobby from baseball, basketball, and football over the last 7 years. Let's data dive. It's giveaway time, and today's episode is brought to you by Courtyard.io. And guess what? It is the NBA Cup, the in-season tournament that the NBA put into effect a couple of years ago. We've got the knockout rounds established here with the Thunder, Suns, Lakers, Spurs, Magic, Heat, Raptors, and Knicks. My Pistons, who people are now believing in, didn't make it to this round. But let's see if we can hit some cards from some of these players. I'm going to go over to Courtyard. I've chosen the basketball starter pack, and I'm going to rip this pack. I'm going to rip a few of them. I'm going to give away my best hit from these packs. And all you have to do to win is leave the note Courtyard. Make sure to put the word Courtyard in the comments, and then your Courtyard username. It's completely free to sign up for Courtyard. And if you use code MOVERSPACK, all one word, at checkout for a $25 starter or $50 pro pack, you are guaranteed to get at least the value of that pack from the card that you hit. And as always, Courtyard has a 90% buyback option on any card if you decide it's not the right fit for your PC. So let's get into it. I'm going to rip one of these basketball starter packs, and let's see what I get. All right, let's reveal it. Ripping it open. Let's see. That is an OG Anunoby PSA 10 for the Knicks. Let's go back over here. Knicks in the 3 seed. OG for the Knicks, obviously a Raptors rookie card, but we're going to be giving this card away. Now I'm going to go back, and I'm actually going to rip one of the $50 pro packs, and we're also going to give that card away. All right, $50 pro pack, let's see. Epic music. We got a Zion Williamson BGS 10 Pristine, not in the play-in tournament. In fact, not playing right now, but that is a BGS 10 Zion rookie card. One of the most iconic basketball rookie cards of this millennium, honestly, the 2019 Prizm Zion. And that card, they're offering a $63.90 buyback. That means it must be valued somewhere around, what, $68, something like that. So leave your Courtyard name down below, Courtyard, and your username, or your username from Courtyard. I'm going to be raffling these and giving them away. And in addition to this, if you want a chance to win an almost $5,000 Anthony Edwards Contenders rookie card auto, you have to tune in to the Market Movers Member Live. That is coming up on December 16, Tuesday, December 16, starting at 8 p.m. on this channel. We are going to be doing a live open to the public, and we are going to be giving away an almost $5,000 Anthony Edwards rookie auto from Contenders that we hit through a Courtyard on one of our member lives a few months ago. You're not going to want to miss that. Make sure to use code MOVERSPACK at checkout for a guaranteed hit pack worth the value of whatever you pay, and go check out Courtyard.io. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Market Movers video. My name is Tyler Nethercott, better known as Teapot, and today I've got a really fun data video. I'm going to try to take a bunch of data and distill it down and make it very accessible for everybody watching this, and it's going to be a fun one because there are some sets out there hiding in the wilderness where the cards in those sets are almost guaranteed to get a Gem Mint PSA 10 and to be worth significantly more money in some cases than the raw versions of those cards. You know, we've talked about grading a lot on this channel. I like to say, I think grading and box prices are the two most polarizing, passion-invigorating topics in the sports card hobby. People have very strong opinions about grading. They have very strong opinions about PSA. I'm gonna have a video coming up in the future, sometime over the next month, I believe, where I share some of my deeper thoughts about grading and a lot of other controversial hot button topics in the hobby. That's not today's video. This one I think most of you would just like. Whether you like PSA or BGS or SGC or CGC or TAG or Arena Club or HGA if they're still around, or whoever your grading company of choice may be, this is going to show you some really deep insight into which sets you are almost guaranteed to get Gem Mint cards in, whether it's PSA or otherwise. I got this data from Gemrate, from my buddy Ryan over at gemrate.com, Gemrate.com. He pulls in the data from PSA, BGS, SGC, CGC into his grading reports, maybe even some tag data. And he shows, you can look at a set level, you can look at all this data to see which cards grade well, how well they grade across the different companies. Very useful information. And he pulled a report of the top, what did he give me? The top 500, I think. Yeah, the top 500 sets that have the highest gem rate with a minimum number of cards graded. And I asked him, just do baseball, basketball, football. Those are my three sports. I know sometimes people, why not soccer? Why not hockey? Why not golf? Why not UFC? Why not tennis? Why not whatever, F1? I don't know those as well. These are the three big boys, and these are the sports I know the best. So we're going to kind of show you some of this. I'm not going to go through all 500 sets. And we're going to drill down into some sets. And then we're going to flip the script at the end of this video and just take a peek at some of the sets that are the absolute worst. And the last thing that I'm going to do is share with you some insight, some do's and don'ts, some watch out fors, and some things that, you know, even if you don't see it on this sheet, it's probably going to bode well for gem rates. So let's get into this data. All right, so here's the sheet. These are the highest gem rates. And I highlighted some sets that I want to look at a little bit more, but I will scroll and start at the top here. The set that had the highest gem rate at 801 tens out of 807 cards printed, only 6 9s and no 8s or less. So 0% 8 or less. So you're almost guaranteed to get a 10. Is a set that I'm not really familiar with. Topps Team Set American League All-Star. So it's a top set, and apparently if you send those cards in, you're just guaranteed to get a 10. Here's another Topps Team Set Tampa Bay Rays. What I can tell you is that as we scroll down through this, you'll see that like Topps Now cards in particular are almost always a slam dunk. At least the ones that are a thinner stock. Sometimes Top Now does do like on-demand thicker stock ones. Wemby had a rookie card that was like all rookie or something like that, where it's a thicker stock card. Those may not gem as well. Thicker stock cards are a little tougher. But Topps Now cards printed on demand, they print them, they pack them, they ship them. They're not jostled around in boxes. They don't go through the same entire like rigor, I don't think, that like a mass-produced product like Topps Flagship or Topps Chrome would. They just generally have very high gem rates. So you see here, I don't even know what this is. I just skipped over it. Topps Black and White frame rate. Let's jump down to Panini Court Kings Self-Expression. So this is actually not just like a set as a whole, but the subsets within these given ones. So this is an insert, Self-Expression. This is an insert. And this is what GemRate shows you when you go to their website and you find this data. It's a summary of a bunch of information. 1,654 gems on 1,743 cards. That's a 95% gem rate. Victor Wembanyama. This is, by the way, this was 2023 Court King, so it's his rookie. Victor Wembanyama's rookie. 590 gems out of 606 cards graded. 97.4% gem rate. And then you have some other names within here. You can scroll down, see this chart with the grade distribution, and so on and so forth, and how many are graded over time. Lots of really cool information if you are a data geek like me. Let's jump over to Market Movers, and let's take a look at Wemby's Expressionist rookie card insert here in these various conditions, and I can click on last sale, and what I can see is that in PSA 10 condition, this card sells for $275 in PSA 10 condition and $90 raw. So $90, 25 to 27 to get it graded, send it into PSA. And if it tens, of which 97% of them have tenned, then this card is going to get you, net you $150, even after fees and everything. I got to go find some of these cards raw and just start sending them in. This data, don't sleep on this data. Incredibly powerful. Like, we should be talking about this a little bit more. Even if you just want to sell cards to fund your PC, this is a big deal. So that's Wemby's rookie card in this case. Let's take a look here at LeBron, for example. What is it, just Wemby rookie cards or LeBron? $11.50 is what this card sold for raw, the most recent sale. That sold on November 19. And here's a PSA 10. Oh, that's numbered to 149. Here's an SGC 10 that sold for $100. Here's a PSA 10 that sold for $150. Kind of interesting that the PSA 10 Ruby to 149 sold for less. But even at 11 bucks plus the grading cost, call it 40 fully loaded with shipping and everything else, you stand to make somewhere between $60 to $110 before the fees if it tens. And 95 to 97% of these are going to gem. That's absolutely wild. Let's jump over and look at another set. So this is Topps Black and White. And these cards are beautiful. Photography is amazing. These are honestly kind of slept on. They fly under the radar. So this is 2024 Topps Black and White. And no surprise to see one Mr. Paul Skeens, who's lit the hobby pitching market on fire. 521 gems on 554 total graded. 94% gem rate. 93% overall for the entire set. And it's interesting because you hear black and white, you would think, oh no, black borders. This is going to be like Panini Noir. It's going to be terrible. A spoiler, by the way. You got Ohtani at 94%, Ellie at 94%. No, this set grades incredibly well. So let's jump over here, and I've got Yoshinobu Yamamoto. This card in raw condition here. This one, I know it's sideways, but that one sold for 28 bucks raw. In an SGC 9.5, did 62.50. And if we scroll down and we find the PSA 10, $145. So there's two opportunities here. You find the SGC 9.5, you crack it out, as we've seen in the past, with a little flathead screwdriver all along the border, and it just comes right out. No damage, super easy. You send it into PSA, and it's got, what was it, a 94, 95% chance of getting a 10. It's probably going to get a 10 because PSA doesn't have that 9.5. It's 10 or 9. Here's another one. We've got this PSA 10 sold for 130 bucks. You're scooping these at $20 to $30 raw and getting 3 figures back in a PSA 10 after your $25 to $30 grading cost investment. Topps Black and White out of 2024. And I'm telling you, these pictures, just absolutely incredible. Let's scroll down. Let's see if we can get one that's horizontal. Very dramatic images, really cool cards. Honestly, not a ton of them in circulation. It's not like, I don't think these were like printed to the moon either. So even in terms of collectability, if you have like a favorite player that's in this set, those are very collectible cards. And if it's a rookie card for somebody like Yamamoto, I think it actually has a chance to withstand the test of time a little bit. That's my opinion, not financial advice. Okay, 2023 Topps Now offseason, another Topps Now product. Shohei Ohtani, 16,816 gems on 17,800 sent in. The next one is Ohtani and Yamamoto, and this is 2023. All right, well, let's jump over and look. This one, you'd want to kind of maybe pump the brakes on. Dirt cheap raw. They printed these things to the moon. 37,585 print run. That's how many, because these are printed on demand. You go into Topps Now, you buy some, and then when everybody's done buying during that, 48-hour window usually, I think, they shut it down. They print exactly as many as were ordered. Apparently people wanted the one here of Ohtani with his dog. He looks a little chubby in this picture, honestly, but he's got his dog. He's waving. People love dog photos with their athletes. But in a PSA 10, I mean, this thing's only selling for 40 bucks. That's not going to be worth it. That's just, even if it gets a 10, you're not going to make money on that. You're going to lose money. If you'd rather buy one raw and get it graded and save yourself like $5 in the grading cost compared to what it is in PSA 10, maybe, but I wouldn't be sending these in. However, that's because there's a lot of them. However, if we jump over to the Yamamoto and Ohtani, this one raw, $4.25. Probably sold, had shipping, associated with it. This one, $10.50. So let's keep scrolling down. This one, this is the same card. I don't know what that grading company is. What is this? First graded? $114? Yeah, don't do that. Don't do first graded, whatever that thing is. But here's one in a PSA 10, $134 on Golden Auction for a card that sells for $4 raw. Now look, I could get on my pedestal like I have in the past and talk about the insanity of the price of a PSA 10. I could also just say, let me just go out there and look on eBay and see if I can find any of these in raw condition and at least take advantage of it while I rant about how silly it is. I've actually got a soapbox under my feet right now, so I'm tempted. But this is crazy. $4 to $10 raw, $130, $100 and however many dollars in PSA 10 condition for a card that has that one's an 89% gem rate. So a little bit lower, but still nearly a lock to get you a PSA 10. Let's look at this one. This is the Ohtani offseason. This is the Kanji SP, okay? And this one in PSA 10 condition, $475. You're going to be hard-pressed to find these raw. So why do I bring that up? Because we're back to the SGC 9.5 thing here. This is an SGC 9.5 that sold for $300. $300, $27, back for $475, still mad profit. No problem. Don't worry about it. All right, next set. This is Diamond Kings blank slate. So this is still Panini, same as Court Kings. Blank slates, unlicensed, baseball. Only 112 of these graded so far. These are rare. The blank slates in baseball, very rare. And as unlicensed cards go, the design is simple. It doesn't detract from the fact that they aren't licensed and don't have the team logos. They're just very beautiful, artistic cards. We got Pujols, Soto, Jackie Robinson. 100% gem rates on some of these guys. Let's jump over. Let's look at Frank Thomas here. And I've got a PSA 9 at $115. PSA 10 at $375. PSA 10 at $375. Interesting to see the SGC 10 at the same price basically as the PSA 10. Raw, $75. Now, one of these hasn't sold in 5 months. So like I said, they're tough to track down. $75, $25 in for grading, $375 back on a super short print. These are the types of ones that even work out typically even better. Enough of a sample size that you have confidence that they should grade very well. Do your due diligence, inspect what you can from the photos, make sure it's all there and good. But like where the ones where the pop is just incredibly low and these don't ever surface, you can make even bigger price multipliers than like a Topps Now car with 30, 40,000 print run, you know, where it's going to start to, you know, come down in price quite a bit. So this is a really good example with the Frank Thomas. And just what a beautiful card. Blank slates, I'm telling you. Some of my absolute favorite inserts from Panini, period. All right, let's look at Albert Pujols. So raw, $70. PSA 10, $153. Not as much of a price premium, but still, the opportunity's there. Here's a PSA 10 that sold for $200. I'd probably do that. I'd probably try to sell it for $200. This one went to DC Sports and sold on auction. Sometimes you got to be a little more patient. Throw it up there. This one, I guess, was on auction too. A lot of these on auction, actually, interestingly. But, you know, maybe put it on a buy it now, put it out there at $250 with offers and try to get $200 on it. Last one, Jackie Robinson. Beautiful card, raw, $150. PSA 10 condition, $350. I mean, gosh, that's such a cool looking card. Really, really cool. Big opportunity on the Diamond Kings. Okay, one more here. This one's going to blow your mind. 2024 Panini Prizm Black. So not a black Prizm, not the one of ones, but Prizm Black, the product, Manga. These things have just gone nuclear on the market in terms of popularity. 314 graded overall, 90% gem rate. So very, very high gem rate. 92% gem rate on Steph Curry, so slightly above average. 100% on Jason Tatum. Let me zoom in here a little bit so hopefully you can see these. And big time gem rates. Even 83% on this LeBron is like, well, you only had 24 graded, 20 got gems. Who knows? There could be issues. Somebody could have mishandled it. Let's go to Market Movers. And I'm showing you 6 different examples. LeBron PSA 10, 20,000. LeBron Raw, 12,800. Now, this is not a $25 grading fee. This is going to be upcharge territory, PSA's favorite word. And then, but I mean, still, even after the upcharges and everything, that's a huge price multiplier, especially if you can try to get a cash deal done or find a private buyer and, you know, don't have to worry about fees. But even with that, that's crazy. But it gets crazier. 10,000 for Luka, 18,000. So about the same gap, 8,000. But look at this Steph Curry, $9,900 raw on December 1st, whereas a PSA 10, remember the gem rate, 92%. 24 out of 26 of these have gotten PSA 10s. And somebody bought one raw for $9,900, and one just sold in a 10 for $35,000. Make it make sense. It's the same card. It's the same card that just went into a little acrylic slab and got sonic welded shut with a label in it and the opinion of some person you will never meet who spent maybe 30 to 60 seconds looking at it and went 10, boom, send it off, and suddenly magic. It's a magic power. That card is now worth, what is that, 250%? I'm probably doing my math wrong on the top of my 350%. It's worth $25,000 more than it was before. That's unbelievable, 250% more. Prizm Black Mangas. Now, these are big boy cards. I understand not all of us have $10,000 laying around. I don't. Not to just put into a card and sock away and roll the dice. But if you do, I mean, seems like a good opportunity to me. All right, last set, Bowman's Best. Let's go back to 2018. Let's go back to Shohei Ohtani's year again here. We got Shohei Ohtani, 4,665 gems on 5,377 sent in. That's an 86.8% gem rate. We got Juan Soto, that rookie card that year. We got Acuna. We got Glaber. Even Mike Trout saw 756 of these sent in. All hovering that 87 to 91% gem rate range, 87 overall for the set. So let's look at Mr. Ohtani. PSA 10, $254, raw 96. Now, if you happen to get a 9, you're out the grading fee. So you find 2, 3, 5, 10, 100 of these things in raw condition. You send them in, you get them graded. 87% of them come back a gem mint, and you're up $150 on your 100. Let's call it $120 on your $130 investment in. Basically doubling your money on every one of these that you send in raw. Sounds like a pretty good value proposition to me. There's so much more with this data. There's so much more that if you go to Gemrate and you find these sets that have these incredibly high gem rates overall, and that's your game, you could literally fund your PC. You could fund your kids' college education, potentially. Not financial advice again, but there's just a lot of potential here. I've just got to find the time to dig into this more. I thought this would be a fun video. When I saw how many sets have these incredibly high gem rates, it was mind-blowing. So I'm going to go back to that. And I'm just going to kind of scroll down. And you can stop and pause the screen anywhere you want. But these are some of the sets. You can see the year and the set. And by the way, over here, you can see how many are 8 or less on some of these sets. A lot of tops now. Panini Instant, these on-demand sets, Panini Luminance, Bowman Chrome, Bowman's Best, Studio from 2019 from Chronicles. And I'll just kind of keep scrolling down. All these sets, very good value proposition. I'm kind of going to stop there. So what about the opposite? What about the sets that are terrible, that are the absolute worst? Okay. All right, let me come back here. And what I did was I sorted, and these are some of the sets. This was the 500, I think it was the 500 worst gem rates. And there's not going to be as many graded in a lot of these sets. Now, why would that be? Well, when people start realizing these cards are in terrible condition and they don't want to get them graded, they don't send them in, so the sets don't pop off as much because we live in a society where it's 10 or bust. You got to have the PSA 10 or it's not worth collecting. I don't believe that, but that's how a lot of people collect. So Origins, Panini Origins, 2,375 of these from 2021, and only 36 PSA 10s. That's just the base set, by the way. 1.52% gem rate, the exact opposite, basically, of what some of those other sets. What was the one we looked at? Let's go all the way back to the top. Of Court Kings is Origins. If I go back, Origins at a 1.52%. The Caitlin Clark collection, that's a Peter Piper picked a peck, highlights almost 1,900 graded 41 10s. Donruss White Hot Rookies from 2024, 1% gem rate. Let's look at Crown Royale Kabooms. Let's pop this open to gem rate and take a look at this data. 1,554 of these Kabooms graded. This is Victor Wembanyama's Kaboom, his rookie Kaboom. Some would argue like a top 5, top 10 most important rookie card for a player within the Panini era, within Panini products. And he is the lone 10. What is this card worth in a PSA 10 for the 110 that has sold out of 118 graded? This just literally comes in at a 0% gem rate on their website. It's 0.06%, 1 out of 1,000. It looks like 2 more have graded since Ryan sent me this report. So what was the issue with this? So the issue with this card was that for some dumb reason, Panini decided that they wanted to put this little semi-border onto these cards, which they've never done. I don't think, on any other kabooms, not that I'm aware of. And then they just printed all of them off center. They all got miscut. So they all look like this. Like, this photo is cropped to make it look nice in the app, but I think it's actually cropped to the edge. Usually we just crop to the edge. And all of them are like this. The PSA 10 has not sold publicly, not that I know of. So even when you look at this, a PSA 8, it sells for $19,000, whereas raw, it was $3,800 recently. These are sales 2 weeks apart. And you can just kind of see when I pop this open, I don't even have a 9 recorded as sold. A 7 goes for $11,000. A 6 goes for twice what raw does at $7,000. There was a BGS 8 sale at $19,000. So that's absolutely unbelievable. If I come back here to the distribution, there's actually only been 5 9s. So there's 110, 5 9s, and all the rest are at an 8 or less. So that's actually unbelievable. I think my counter may have gotten screwed up on this column now that I'm looking at this, so forgive me for that. But the rest are obviously 8s or less on this tally. So that's kind of that one. There's another set here. Let me actually look. I think if I sort just by the lowest, where were the placatas? Yeah, this is one that I saw that had 0% gem rate, 14 9s, and then 68 8 or less. Again, I think that count is wrong. It's just 14 9s, no 10s. Something must have been wrong with the columns that I added up and deleted there. But if I jump over and show you this, you can see this card, it's just kind of a dark bordered card, and especially down along these edges, you're going to get that black border where it just starts to make it really difficult to get a gem in because of the edge chipping and the corners and everything. So what are some of my tips? It's nothing crazy here, nothing earth shattering. But if I zoom in, let me just make this bigger for everybody. Do grade, just a couple takeaways. Tops now, Panini Instant, on-demand cards, very, very good gem rates, and canvas stock cards. So Court Kings, Diamond Kings, the stock of the card is called canvas. Canvas cards tend to grade very well. They're not prone to surface scratches. A lot of times they're like whitish cards or something else. Those tend to grade very well. And a lot of times they don't have a border. They're borderless. So in terms of the centering for the card, the manufacturers kind of know what it's supposed to print out. The grading companies typically won't ding you for the centering unless like the player's name is clearly like slid off to the edge or there's some other indicator. Do not grade unless it's for your PC and you don't care about 10s. But if you're trying to get 10s, black border cards, thick cards, and a little laughing here, Panini, just don't grade Panini maybe. And I'll say why. Yes, you can grade some Panini. Of those highest gem rate cards, I did a count. And those Excel geeks of you will be love to see my function here as I click on this. Topps and Bowman cards represented 302 out of those 500 sets, whereas Panini was 169, whereas the sets with the lowest gem rate, 112 from Topps and Bowman combined, whereas 369 were from Panini. So even though everybody loves to shout and yell about how Fanatics has ruined the hobby and ruined Topps, quality control is pretty dang good compared to what we had for the last decade in basketball and football. So that's today's video. Let me know, what do you think of this insight, of this information? If you do grading, does this change your opinion about anything? Does this like give you more insight into which sets to go after? Is this already your strategy and you like to do this? Another really powerful tool in Market Movers is that intelligence reports feature that I've shown in the past, where you can actually compare PSA 10 to other grades and see which ones have the best multipliers. Right now, Pokémon PSA to CGC is absolutely nuclear in terms of like 10 to 10 or even 10 to 9, 5 is even crazier. So there's opportunity there. And even if you, like I said, if you just like to collect and you're like, I don't know, is it worth it for me? Should I pay the cost to get this card graded for my PC? Go to gemrate.com and just look up that data and you'll see it not only for PSA, but across the different grading companies. You can get all that access really easily there. And other than that, if you want this access to pricing, go to marketmoversapp.com. Use code DIVE, D-I-V-E, to get 20% off any plan for life, but not before you get 14 days completely free to try it out. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, happy investing, keep on collecting, and make sure to have fun.